Next generation enterprise, a topic I feel is incomplete without good documentation or complete documentation for that sake. And we all know that subpar documentation has plagued ERPNext for a couple of years now. So why is documentation important? I'm not going to go in great detail about this, but I feel that the documentation is the core source of information between the maintainers and everyone else, the customers, open source users, partners, everyone. And it is also the primary source of communication. So initially, when I started, the documentation pages were very cluttered, unordered even. In the index pages, there were a bunch of links lying around. It was almost impossible to find what you're looking for. So I proceeded to solve the information hierarchy problem, arranged different pages, and ordered them so that they're easier to read and find. So the home pages, which look like this, are now cards and structured. So I thought this is good, but which is when the real work dawned upon me. And we found that there was a lot of scope for improvement. So we started adding features, missing features for all of the core modules. So this included adding a lot of missing pages, features, tips where necessary, flowcharts, explaining the cycles, and new screenshots. So I'll quickly go through the structure. I've added prerequisites in most of the pages. These are basically dependencies. For example, for creating a sales order, you'd need an item and a customer. So if a new user comes to the documentation, he would know that. And how to create a set of simple steps, which explains how to create a certain document. Features. Now, other than the core steps and dependencies, there are ERPNext is very feature-rich, and there are things like taxes, discounts, shipping rules, etc. in a sales order. I've tried to cover, actually I have covered all of it. And there may be additional actions, for example, in a payment entry, like internal transfer or multi-currency. And there is a set of related topics. For example, when you're going through the bill of materials in manufacturing, you would like to know what a work order is or a job card is. So you can find all these links at the bottom of every page, whichever is relevant. Now I'll show you a few noticeable pages. This is what the purchase receipt used to look like. Now we have a nice one-line definition at the top and the flowchart I was talking about, which explains the purchase cycle. So this is what the work order page used to look like. You'd see that it's a bit structured until you see this. It's a little neater with prerequisites and detailed steps. So when I started, this was the word count in these pages: quotation, item, sales invoice, etc., a couple of hundred. And by the time I was done, it increased quite a lot. And the percentage, thank you. And I think the overall percentage is anywhere from 150 to, in some cases, even 230%. That's like double or tripling the page size. And feature coverage. Previously, there are a lot of missing pieces in the documentation. So the feature coverage was anywhere from 30 to 50%, which is not enough. So we brought it up to 100%, covering all the features in all modules. So what is up to date? I think the core modules, which most people would use, are around these 12, 13 modules, and all of them are covered and up to date and reflect the features as of version 12. So this is around more than 300 pages, and these are not Google Doc pages, mind you. They are web pages, which are quite large. And of course, I had many challenges on the way. I'd like to thank my team for help and guidance along the way. So there was considerable difficulty for me, considering that I had only ever heard the full form of ERP when I joined Frappe. And there was also significant knowledge gain in the process. Or maybe it looked like this. So the message I want to give you today is empower yourself, read the documentation. We say that ERPNext is a self-implementable product, and I hope the documentation should reflect that now. So for future work, I'll be working on some better accessibility for the documentation. This would mean a little bit of SEO, smoothing out the rough edges, and perhaps case studies and more use case-based scenarios which would further help everyone. Okay, now I know that not everyone can write code, but everyone can definitely write English. In fact, I see some of you texting there right now. So if you're a developer or familiar with GitHub, it's as simple as cloning the ERPNext_com repository, and you would proceed to contribute to documentation as you would to code. Or if you are not very technical, you could just go to the bottom of any page, click on improve this link page, and it'll take you to a pull request, and it's as simple as that. And the medium should not be the constraint. You could even write your docs on Google, or articles on Google Docs, post it on Discuss, or send it to me directly. So that's all. Thank you.